We are live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 523 of Moray Python Radio. This is Eric and Owen episode. We're just going to hang out. One of the things I wanted to talk about, this is going to sound weird, is head stamps on carpet pythons. I had a thought, and it's sort of, there was a post that Scott Borden put up, and it got me thinking.
Their head stamps are on their heads?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. End of episode.
Okay.
We
sort of
solved
like,
it.
It's sort of like breeding. Put snake, boy snake,
Put
with
snake,
girl snake.
put
End of
snakes
episode.
together in box. Can't get away. Babies. Yeah.
What else are we going to talk about? Owen's going to talk about his talk he just gave at the, where was it?
Lancaster Herpetological Society. They decided that they wanted to have somebody talk, and I guess you were too far away and I was closer. So yeah.
I think the Lancaster section of Pennsylvania doesn't like short people. So
listen, just because a lot of the animals out here are taller than you.
Yes,
so
I know. Yeah, we'll talk about that and where we're at with breeding season. Let's start with that. I'm going to talk about where I'm at with diamond pythons. It's hard to find people to talk about diamond pythons, so I figured I'm going to do it
right
myself.
Here. Like, I'll talk diamonds.
No.
The only thing I'm going to say is, yeah. I mean, I get, sounds good to me. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to get into that. Some updates on the network and all that kind of stuff. What's up with you, Owen? How you been?
Pretty good. We got the first clutches of the 2023 season on the ground. First clutches. There's one of them. So, nice. I got my jungle.
What do we got?
Jungles.
Jungles.
My Delia scattershot female to the red zebra jaguar that you produced.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So don't know what's gonna come out of these. Yeah.
I wonder if you'll get red jungles.
I bred them before, and I got a zebra that was weird looking. It wasn't. I got no zebra jags, which pissed me off. But I did get a nice. I did get a nice, weird looking kind of zebra. It wasn't black and yellow. It wasn't even red. It was just kind of like, I don't know, off yellow. It was weird.
Right.
So, but that was the only zebra I got. So
I produced this. I wish I had a picture of it. Maybe I can look as we talk, but I produced a red type of zebra. Unfortunately, I couldn't. I don't know. It was one of those situations where you sort of everything is great. Everything's going along, eating, all that stuff. And then
the false security of the season. Yes.
And then, it stopped eating. I'm not really sure. I don't think it was anything genetic to him, but it was a cool looking zebra for sure. I know when I did red zebra jags, like as my first clutch, it's sort of they sort of turned out somewhat red, but not what like I thought they would be. But this one actually turned out red.
And that's the funny thing is because like the male is one of those zebra jags that like got loose in my incubator when he was very small and hatched over here and did all that crap. Yeah, that's him. So it's
full
funny.
circle.
It's funny that it comes back that way, and I'm like, I hate you. Like I remember you. Like so. But that's the first
so long ago.
But that popped up on my Facebook feed a couple weeks ago or something, like the incubation success or maternal incubation success, maternal incubation failure. But
it's my favorite.
It's weird because like the next clutch up is going to be the caramel albinos. So
what have you become?
I don't know. I'm a monster now. I don't know. Past Owen would be just floored. So
yeah, he would be so ashamed.
Yeah.
What have you done?
I am partially, but yeah. So that's that. I mean, that's where we're going. But then it's like it's gonna be rapid fire, dude. Like I have 4 females on egg watch right now because they've all had their prelays. So
what are we looking at? What clutches?
Caramel albinos, Then we have the 2 tiger head exanics bred.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Okay.
we have the caramel head exanic to the caramel jag head exanic.
Okay.
And then after that, it's gonna be my big female coastal to a tiger.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
after that, we have the head exanic to the tiger head exanic. And then we have the caramel tiger to the M pen stripe caramel.
Oh, nice.
So I think that's all.
Awesome. That's all so far.
That's all the carpets. That's all the Morelli.
Okay.
After that, there's an animal back there that's blue. We're not going to talk about it.
We won't talk about that one. We'll keep going.
We're not going to talk about that. It's over there. Yeah.
What are you doing colubrid wise this year? Are you taking a break from colubrids this year, or are you going?
A sensible man would do such a thing, but here we are. I got 3 clutches of corn snakes coming. Probably, I got the black rat.
But that's
snakes.
Nothing for you though. Right?
Hold on.
Oh, wait a minute. I was gonna say you usually wholesale them out.
Black rat snakes. I got the pine snakes because I got albinos last year and I wasn't expecting them.
Okay.
So there's that. Then there's the rhino, the Chinese king rat, false water cobras or maybes, and then 4 clutches of giant Madagascar hognose.
4 clutches?
Yeah.
So what is the Madagascar hognose market like? Is that like are they in high demand? Like high demand species?
I hatched 21 babies last year and I'm down to 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I had a really shit sex ratio. I had like almost all girls.
So are they like one of those colubrids that the colubrid is it like the rough scale of the colubrid world? That type of deal?
It seems to be a bridge. So if you're into false water cobra and large colubrids, you want one because it is a false water cobra and also that. If you're into hognose, like the ones that wear mustache and top hats, you kind of want these as like your next step up.
Okay.
Like you've done hog noses, you've done pine snakes, and now you want to kind of venture into these guys. Plus, the whole thing of their communal housing, people love that. I don't know why, but people do.
So you can't as a novice colubrid person, what does that mean? Like the whole thing.
If I try to keep my false water cobras together year round, it's going to be a bad time.
Okay.
But
I thought you were saying you could keep them together. Okay.
For the mad hogs, yes, you can.
Oh, okay.
So my mad hogs are usually 1 male and his 2 females in the cages. And then I will throw them in empty rack spaces that I have so that they can for feeding, and then I put them all back together.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Well, it looks like I can't find this picture, so I don't know. I looked through. I'm looking at all the EB Morelia pictures on Facebook, which I never go to anymore. But apparently,
let's discuss this.
What are we discussing?
This insubordination here.
Insubordination.
Insubordination. I shall have him demoted somehow, or you know.
Wait. Oh, did I miss something?
Yeah, dear God.
He would have. Oh, I see. See, I'm looking at the EB Morelia Facebook to try to get this picture.
Focus on here. Yeah, focus on here.
My fault.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't find the picture.
Have that boy killed. That's enough.
Don't
protect him.
I like having Lucas around.
Don't protect him. Don't protect him.
So I wanted to give a update on some of the NPR network stuff before we get into the talk.
And Crebo.
Crebos?
And Crebos.
Have you bred Crebos before?
Not successfully.
Is this one of these? Once you breed it,
it's gone, and then I never want to see it again. Yes.
What is what is that about us that like? Is it the challenge of not saying you failed at a project, or like what is it?
Well, I think the problem is that I have enough projects that are like near and dear to my heart that I don't care how many times I fail at them. I'm going to keep pushing.
Yeah,
But
like
then
White Lips, you kept
right,
going and going and going,
right,
and
right.
you're never giving them up.
But there are certain other projects where it's like fail, fail, fail. Do I really like these things this much? Like it comes to that point. Plus, you know, when you have other animals that are successful,
Right.
that could slide into that opening, like I have the Crebo. The Crebo have laid now 2 clutches of infertile eggs.
Okay.
So okay. But then I have the Chinese king rats. So the Chinese king rats are getting big. A little too big. Plus, handling them is usually disgusting. So it'd be much easier to put them in the big 6-foot cages, give them the bridge, and just kind of let them do their thing. But right now, the Crebos are in those cages. So it's like, all right, well, king rats are breeding successfully last year and then probably again this year. The babies weren't hard to do anything like that. So then it's like, well, do I stick with the Crebo? And luckily, I have a friend who is very much into colubrids who wants the Crebo. So then it's like, all right, I'm letting them go, but they're not going far, kind of a deal.
Okay.
So,
okay, it's one of those type of situations. I get it.
I mean, if I do successfully breed them, that will speed up their getting the hell out of here, because then it's like, all right, done, check, get out. So
see, for me, it's like if I don't like it, I just you're out.
I am aware. I am aware of this. Like
I don't care if I don't breed you or not. You're out.
I will 100% agree because or I know that because I have your ring
many of those
pythons, your
things.
Angolan python. Like it's
there is the red zebra jay.
There he is.
Yep.
Yeah. When he was young and full of hope.
Yes. Yeah. He did turn out nice.
He did.
For sure.
He is. I mean, the only downside I have to him
is he is a jag.
He is such a jag. He is a jag so hard. He is one of the worst ones. But
yeah. I told you, man, when you mix, I don't know. It's something about when you start stacking genes on top of it.
When you start stacking broken genes, the ship is just more broken.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, it makes sense to me.
Right.
So.
Yeah, for me, I think I'm about to have a gelatin clutch.
And did you accidentally walk into that?
I think I'm about to have a poplin clutch, the banded stuff. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And really, I'm working on diamonds, but we'll get into that in a few. But some updates for the MPR network. So
I just put the Russians in a pillowcase and just shake it until shake and bake.
I haven't seen a whole lot of action for them. You know, I don't know. I don't know. But see, to me, that's a project that I won't give up. To me, that's the white lip. You know what I mean? They're my white lips.
There was the one time where I'm like, "You want me to take the Russians?" You're like, "No." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah. No,
I will do this.
I will not fail.
All right, God.
You know, it's like as you go through the hobby, right? Your goals change, your focus changes, everything sort of morphs or whatever.
Oh, I'm aware.
Yeah, but. My goal was always to breed all the different carpets, and I feel like I became so distracted with other things that I sort of put those things on the back burner. Well, and it would be like you putting rough scales on the back burner, like
Right, so you have coastal, you have jungle.
Yeah.
Oh wait, are we going by new? Are we going new nomenclature or old?
Well, the hobby. Yeah.
Okay.
I did not breed Brisbanes. Yes. So that would be Southerns, I suppose, if you want to go that way.
I know. Let's give you credit where credit is due. All right. So you've done coastal, you've done jungle, you've done Darwin, you've done Papuan.
No, I haven't done. Well, I've done Darwin crosses. I don't necessarily
count next.
I suppose. So does that mean I did diamonds too, since I did diamond crosses?
All right, now unfortunately I have to negate the rule. Sorry, yeah, I can't.
Yeah,
you're right. See? You're right. You're 100% correct. Okay, so coastals, IJs, jungles,
IJs. Yeah,
that's it. Only 3.
So I've done what you would call northern jungles, southern jungles. Yeah, I'm with you, Riley. It doesn't count. And then
we agree. I agree.
So
I went
what
back.
I have, so what I have left is Darwin's, Diamonds, and
Yeah.
Inlands.
Well, I mean,
and Breadlie.
Yeah, Breadlie.
So 4. I've done 3. I gotta do
because I've done coastals, jungles,
Brettles, Breadlie.
We're saying this, and Scott's punching his dashboard right now. It's, I think that's it.
Yeah. So,
because I just done various coastal stuff. I haven't dipped into diamonds or.
I have a lot of coastals.
Yeah, you do.
A lot of coastals.
What happened?
I don't know. Somebody has to take the torch.
I mean, listen.
I feel like I've always felt like jungle, to me, the only thing that really needs to be done to jungles is just make a striped jungle,
or just make more,
which is sort of my where I'm at, right? I think I'm working on that. Riley's working on that. Now Nick's trying to get in the game.
What? No, you shouldered him out. And no. He had his chance. He went ivory. He can go play with that.
Yeah. Now. You're moving towards the ball pythons. Oh, okay, good.
Please, no. Closest I will get is an Angolan, and I won't insult them anymore by calling them a bumpy ball python. That is a miniature African rock python, is what that thing is.
Yeah, they're sort of the bridge between those two worlds. Yeah, they're cool snakes for sure.
Yeah, but
I like them.
They're evil. So
yeah, I like them a lot. But again, it's sort of like again, it's just about focusing. You can't do everything, that kind of deal. So certain things have to take precedent. So anyway, NPR. So I just wanted everybody to know, in case I'm assuming if you're watching this, maybe, or if you're listening to this when it comes out on tomorrow, our YouTube channel, I put up the first episode in the Understanding Carpet Python series, and I talked about citrus tigers. I did that one because they're near and dear to my heart. It's really what fired me up to get into carpet pythons. I even put in there how you kept seeing my name on Wilpert's site.
That was
this Eric Burke. He must die.
Well, it was because it was either thanks and Eric Burke, and then I guess he got tired of typing your name because then just get the EB next. I'm like, this asshole. Like, the entire fucking clutch. Like, I just wanted one. Like,
I never even thought about that in terms of I'm really one of the only ones that has that. And I don't know. It's I feel pressure when I think about things that way. You
don't ever think about that kind of stuff, because I used to have that with the HCQs, because I had the straight pure HCQs, and I lost the last female, and then I'm like, it's over, it's gone. It's like, well, yeah. So
here's a question for you. Since the citrus tigers have HCQ blood in it, would you consider that an HCQ project if you had a normal non-striped,
if you
citrus tiger looking
animal? I would say citrus tiger would be the one thing I would say. I had a really good looking HCQ pure female, and there was no males to be found ever. The next a really good replacement would be citrus tiger, because there's HCQ blood in there. That's where I would go.
Yeah. And isn't it funny how HCQ was something that everybody poo-pooed, but now in theory, well, it would be the northern. It would just.
But I love it because how many people poo-poo HCQ, but how many tiger lines, if you go back far enough,
have it in there? Many.
A lot of them. That's why there were no pure HCQs, because they all got crossed into tiger shit, because it gave you those yellow animals.
I often wonder, so just so everybody knows, we have this NPR chat, and today in the chat they were sort of talking about bloodlines, and Warren Booth was commenting that he did an analysis of Brettle's bloodlines in the US, and basically saying that they're all the same. So it kind of sucks, because you're going and you're you're buying animals based off of trying to have genetic diversity, but when they're all kind of the same,
Yeah.
what do you do?
I mean, I've had people tell me that they want to buy a female olive python
You were
from
telling
me.
me this the other
And like, I want to buy a female olive python from you, and then I want to buy another female from like Eric Kohler. I'm like, okay. Usually, because then they'll be unrelated. I'm like, well, there are only 5 lines of olive python in the U.S. and nobody kept track. They just kind of
now it's all one.
yeah, exactly. They just kind of were like, I need an olive python. Here's an olive python. So nobody kept track. Everything is semi-related.
Right.
Do you want to make yourself feel a little bit better by stepping out and not getting a direct sibling? Fine. You're still breeding cousins, is what you're getting at here. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I sort of think about that, right? And I think about it in two different things, like the line breeding concept and having bloodlines and all this stuff. But as soon as you sort of outcross it, right, now you're
Gone.
sort of in there. It's sort of the bloodline is gone. Is that
Right.
good or is that bad for the long-term hobby? Do you do you breed those bloodlines and sell them to breeders and then do pairings where you're breeding unrelated offsprings that would be sold as pets, or does it even matter? What do you think?
I think having a bloodline is you're basically going after a certain look, right?
Yeah, you could. Or in cases like, myself or like Nick or, people in that camp would be, I want to make sure that what I'm working with is this specific bloodline.
That is pure, and this is what it is.
Well,
so
yeah.
The issue is
Sure.
is that we're so painted into a corner here
Yeah.
that lines and localities are going to be some of the most inbred animals that we have at our disposal, because
Sure.
the second you step out of it, it's gone. Even more so, like I was already worried about like Brisbane and some of the other locality carpets. Now we're like breeding a Brisbane to anything else is sacrilege. Like, holy crap! Like now, so
yeah.
I mean,
yeah. So like, obviously we can't. Very rarely are we getting unrelated stuff in.
Right. So if you had
that used to be my justification for morph breeding.
Just we're never going to get it. Yeah.
Well, think about it, right? You're definitely crossing things that aren't related.
Hell,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm making an albino, I don't know, an albino tiger, that's
that is true.
They're not related.
True.
Watch, he does a genetic analysis.
They're all the same.
What did the founders do?
Nobody wrote this down. Like it was so.
It doesn't seem to affect. Like when I do normal carpet python clutches, I don't really see. I've actually seen more messed up shit in the crosses.
When you go out, I feel like the way Australia is almost set up is that there are in certain areas, it's almost like island stuff. Like they can't survive over here, so they got to all stick in here. So how much real genetic diversity are you getting in these habitable areas where they're living? So I don't know. And also they have such big clutches because how many animals are actually going to make it to adulthood? So I don't really know. I mean, I've seen my share of like weird two-headed things.
Well, I think you're going to get that.
But I think I think you get that regardless. I don't know. I really don't know how that's going to play, or how it's even something you can really avoid. I would say that if you were going for a certain line, and say you had, say you were going for not a locality or a pure thing, you're going for like a color or a look. Eventually, what you would do is you would cross out to an animal that is really close to what you were thinking out. So obviously, you're going to take your holdbacks and you're going to breed them together, and then eventually you find somebody who has a project kind of like yours. You grab one of their animals and you breed it to your stuff, and then you take those babies and you start crossing them back into your line. So like you basically fully envelop that outside animal, for that kind of stuff. But who's to say that that might not set you back a couple paces? Like if you're working on striped jungle, you're obviously you breed the stripes to each other and you get more stripes, but then your objective is to find somebody else that's working with striped jungles and get the most striped animal that you could possibly get from them to breed to your stuff to outcross. Well, who's to say that that's not they just didn't get lucky and that's a nice striped animal, but all its ancestors are banded. So those babies come out and
Right.
yeah, you're now back a couple paces. Could you recover? Hell yeah. So obviously you start crossing back in and you'll get more stripes, but it'd be better that way. But a lot of that kind of stuff is knowing when to cross the animals in and knowing that you kind of got to build back up to where you were at.
Yeah, it was so this was Pedrick's point in the chat was that it was going to be my next thing, and really what kind of attracted me to poplar carpets to begin with is that the whole idea that you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
you don't have to really.
Well, are they wild caught or are they farm hatched? Like
Well, that matters for sure. I suppose you have to make sure that I would say that if you're going to get wild caught, to guarantee that, well, even then you can't. It's not a guarantee. I was going to say the more you get an adult, like an adult sized animal, I don't think they're holding on to those into adulthood.
If the people who do the exportations find an adult female that's full of eggs, you ain't getting it. Like, why would I send that to you?
No, I don't mean that. I'm just saying that, like, yeah, he couldn't break behind. Yeah, exactly. I think it's I think it's imperative to people that are into poplar carpets that, and this is one of the things that I like about the Morelia community is, like, especially the people working with that subspecies, is sort of there's not an issue with just trading, bloodlines, sort of like what you're doing with Ryan with white lips and stuff.
But
I would imagine it's the same thing. Like, I don't really see. Well, let me ask you this: with your white lips, are you making sure that you're outcrossing and all that stuff? Do you have a plan in place, or is it just
relatively
sort of,
easy? It's relatively easy to outcross with white lips.
Yeah,
you see. Most of them are wild caught and very angry.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's the good thing is that my female that had the eggs, she was wild caught.
Right.
So 100% she's unrelated to the stuff that we got going on.
Right.
My male was a captive born and bred from Rolf Kern. So he is related to several of the animals that are kicking around in people's collections and things like that. But because she's a wild caught, that's good. So that's why Ryan and I are swapping babies, because that's new blood for his stuff. I have a wild caught male that I'm raising up. And hopefully in the near future, the clutch will be the two wild caughts.
Okay.
Because then that'll be completely unrelated to everything. Now, I am holding on to 3 of the babies from this year.
Okay.
I've already made several deals with several other people, like who I like, trust, and are working with White Lips Lisa. So that they
1.2, 2.1. What are you holding back?
I'm holding 1.2.
Okay.
I wanted to. Well, obviously, the one of the females that I'm holding is the one that I'm swapping with Ryan. So the baby trio will be one of my captive born and bred boys, one of my captive born and bred girls, and then Ryan's captive born and bred girls. So that's the new trio that I'm raising up. So ideally in the next couple of years, we'll obviously have a couple more girls, a couple more boys. We'll have the wild caught male. We'll have the captive born and bred male. We can kind of shuffle around so I can get one of my white lips, my boy, to breed with the girl I got from Ryan. We can do all that stuff so I can get some different bloodlines of white lips and some different unrelated stuff. So
okay. Yeah, I think a lot of that is sort of similar with Papua and stuff. I guess pretty much a lot of stuff from Indonesia, right? Papua New Guinea, all that kind of area. I wonder how unrelated Bloodlines are, right? Because if they're taking them
from
from
the 1 or 2 nests, I
nest
mean,
sites,
maybe they're all well, it depends. So if they are all imported from, it's the diamond thing. It's like, are all these diamonds for all these different lines really unrelated, being that they all kind of showed up at the zoos at the same couple of years, like from the same guy? Like, it's maybe, but I would say that if all the Bolins from 1 year are probably related, if they can only take them from certain nests. So, yeah, I would kind of say like they would probably, I would say, but the problem is because it's not just one nest, right? It's
right,
multiple.
right.
So you run the risk of them being related. Like if you bought a pair, I mean, maybe, likely.
It's so hard because there's so much we don't know. Even like, I was thinking, I think I was talking to Rob about this the other day. Is that in when we are going to Australia, or even when you're herping just in general, you're sort of seeing just this snapshot, right? And you're sort of you're looking at temps, you're looking at humidity, you're looking at where the snake is, you're looking at what it's doing, if it's having some type of behavior or whatever the case would be. You're only seeing it in that small window,
right, those couple of minutes you have with it or something like that.
Right. So I feel like there's just so much that we don't know, that we think we know from those little snapshots of why it's so. And you don't see like a lot of like nature shows that focus on at least the snakes I'm into. It's usually like cobras, rattlesnakes.
Nothing's impressive. Yeah, nobody wants to follow.
Yeah.
No one wants to follow a python around all day.
How boring.
Yeah, what is it doing? It's still sleeping. Oh, all right. Yeah.
Even living zoology, right? And I hope that they have other episodes coming out, but they went to Australia and I'm like, oh hell yeah, man, this is going to be awesome. But they focused a lot on like the elapids that that are there, and
horribly dangerous.
I get it, but at the same time I'm like, come on, man, that's the land of the python, like, like you got to throw at least one in there.
I want one special about Owen Pelly pythons where they like don't have an inside in to plant the animal someplace. Like I want to be like, they're down there somewhere in this rock. Like, it's, you almost want to see that kind of stuff. The true stuff.
Yeah. The dark diamond. Yes. I did see the dark diamond. I think I have that picture somewhere. Of course, I saved it somewhere. And
we have yet to find a diamond that we haven't liked.
I don't know why. Like, so what do you think? What do you think? I guess it's just the misconception about diamond pythons that keep people away from them, right?
Well, I would say that there's a lot of things that keep people away from diamond pythons. One is the misconception that they are so hard to breed, which I can say I have not tried, so I don't know.
I don't think they're hard to breed. I think they're just different.
They're different, exactly.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at that beauty, man. Look at that eye with that face and the labial.
Look at the scales and its lack of limbs. I mean, it looks almost like a diamond python of some kind.
Listen,
yes. What?
There's only X amount of rosettes here. I'm calling this unpure.
Yeah, no. Look at that one. There's longer than all the other ones. Nope. How old is that animal? 1? 2?
Probably. Yeah. I didn't have an age. That was I forget who put that up. That was who was that? I forget. They also put up this Papuan python, which was just freaking lovely.
An actual Papuan python, or
no.
Oh, yeah. No, it's
that's
not.
Nice.
Yeah,
not the ones you want.
Not the ones I want.
Yeah. Yeah. So I forget what we were just talking about. What were we just talking about? Diamond pythons.
Diamond pythons, and the fact
why aren't they more popular?
It's different. Like, why aren't inlands more popular? Because they're different to breed.
I can understand. Inlands are kind of gray when they hatch out.
Right.
Red
light have become popular because you can make a fire engine red. It doesn't really care about what's going on, and it can be huge.
I suppose. Yeah.
So diamonds, I don't know if there's still the lingering thing of like they're hard to breed. You have to get styrofoam containers and stick them out in your garage, like that Reptiles magazine show.
Nah,
Like,
yeah,
I don't
I
know if
know.
there's that lingering. I know that a lot of people were concerned about the diamond disease where they drop dead after a certain point. I don't know if that's lingering.
But
I don't know if
what
people
person
want to.
that's coming into carpet pythons today is
Yeah.
going to hear about diamond python syndrome?
I don't know.
Who would be saying that?
What happens when you Google diamond pythons?
I don't know. Should we Google diamond
Let's
python?
Google diamond pythons. Yeah.
Diamond
Python care. Let's see what happens.
python care. Who do you think's going to pop up?
Probably us.
Damn it, Reptiles magazine. You son of a bitch.
Victory.
Actually,
write this down.
Actually, carpetpythons.com is the first one, but up at the top where you promote it, you know, like
Reptiles magazine article. Oh shit, yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, it's right there. Come on.
Let me see if I can bastard.
Son of a bitch. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. One point for Owen.
Yep. Someone write that down. But the problem is that I think it's harder to break free of
that's true.
Bad press.
That's true. K Kaz. Oh, that's what's his name? I can
You need a minute? Okay.
No, it's Rob. I just throws me off whenever I see it. Yeah, it's the first time. I guess it's pretty expensive. I don't know.
I mean, it's a pretty expensive snake, and it's also one of those things where.
What do diamond pythons even go for? $1,000?
I want to see. I want to say I paid.
I think I paid about $1,000.
Yeah, I want to say I paid 1,000 and change.
Brandon saying the cost doubled. What's the going rate for diamonds, Brandon? And then Brandon keeps them outside. If you didn't catch that, you should check out Riley and Brandon did sort of a 1,200 plus. Okay, Riley and I guess that's kind of what they've. Maybe they were about 700 to 1,000, depending.
Is that Lisa's zip code, or is that like the price too? Oh God, 2,000 for a female. Okay, so.
Oh gee, holy shit!
I mean, if the parents got the right color, and they look really nice. Now, are these are yellow diamonds? Find me a white diamond.
Shows. Okay.
Yeah.
1,800. So yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay.
I guess that would be a good reason. Okay, fair enough.
That would be a good reason. Also, like if something happens to one of the animals in your pair, that's a big thing to recover from. You know?
Yeah, but I don't know, man. They're kind of easy to take care of.
He said it. Okay.
What?
I mean,
holy shit! Vanessa Crutchfield has them for 3,000 each. God damn.
Some people put more stock on their stuff, you know.
So diamonds are worth more than roughies at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you make roughies, we'll trade.
Yeah, we can do that.
If I make diamonds.
I mean, you're still lording a hypo over my head. So
yeah. Oh. So
he shed and you didn't show me. I'm gonna be so mad at you.
Holy shit.
God damn it.
I thought about it when you left the other night. I was like, shit.
Yeah, well, he's not gonna care.
I should have took him in and showed him.
At least showed him the freaking hypo. This is what you can't have. Now get out. Just close the drawer.
I don't know if I finished my thought, but Riley and Brandon did a video of Brandon keeping them outside over on Riley's Reptiles.
That's awesome.
YouTube page. If you didn't check it out, it was pretty cool to see Brandon set up and what he's got going on.
Yeah.
So for me right now, so my approach with the diamonds, it's similar. You start it the same way as you do the other carpets. You stop feeding, the month prior, blah, 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 that kind of thing.
Just make them colder.
And then, gradually bring their temperatures down. Nighttime lows are about, eventually you get to around 50. It's like 50 to 60.
Have you had to open the window in your office yet?
No, what I do is I open the door.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, open the door.
Okay.
Because that window that I have in the other room isn't the greatest, so it it gets pretty chilly.
There's a giant
But the
draft.
crazy
in that room
thing
out
is,
there.
this is the thing. Like a lot of people think that they hibernate or brumate or whatever, but dude, they're active at those temperatures. Like it's nuts. They're out there perching, ready to eat.
I've gotten hit more by my breadlie in the wintertime because I'm just on autopilot and I don't expect any carpet to be ready for murder. And then you go to get the water bowl and the female breadlie just rockets across the cage and hits you. And you're like, really? So I would imagine diamonds are going to be the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very. So I got them down to about, I think the lowest I got them was about 48 was the lowest they got.
Okay.
But the thing is the daytime, the daytime high, but really you're on, unlike other carpets, and this is where I think it gets a little tricky, is that you're only bringing them up to about 70 ambient temp.
Really?
And yeah, so you're between 50 degrees and 70 degrees as your ambient temp. The difference is like offering that basking spot, and you're just reducing the time. So
they have access to it.
Yeah. So eventually you get down to like, I think it was 4 to 5 hours is kind of like what when it's like in the winter, it's 4 to 5 hours. And the basking site's usually about 95.
Okay.
Somewhere between 88 and 95, something like that. I try to go to the higher length. And what I'll do is I put it on in the morning. I let it heat up. Then the light goes off, so it doesn't overheat the ambient. See, Brandon got his down to 35. Holy shit, they're bulletproof, man. And then I brought it back up gradually. I'll turn it back on later in the afternoon for a few more hours so they could bask later on before going into the night. But right now I'm at the point where I'm bringing them back up. I offered them food today. They all ate. Basking site now is on 7 to 10 hours as opposed to 5 to 6. And, like I'm doing the same thing. Morning time, it comes on, turns off. Afternoon, it comes on, turns off. Probably next month is when I'll start introductions. But I saw like Martin. He's was it Martin? No, who was breeding? Was it Martin? No, who did you say had? Oh, Eric Kohler.
Yeah, Eric put up a picture of his diamonds. I think him and Jason own those diamonds. I'm not sure. I'd have to get clarification because I know Jason got some diamonds, some really good looking adults.
Right.
Somebody just walked into Hamburg and said, "I don't want these anymore. Here are my adult diamonds, and here are all their babies." And Jason's like, "Okay." Like, just I'm like, "Why does this never happen when I'm vending at Hamburg? Like, can somebody come walking up and offer me a bunch of diamonds?" So
right.
Yeah.
What did you how does that differ from your Brettles?
The breadlie I will drop, but I'm not getting them down into the 30s. I'll tell you that much. Usually I stop them around 50, 55. Yeah.
But 50, when 55. In the daytime, you're going back up to normal
84. Yeah.
84,
85.
Hot spot, 80 degree ambient type of deal.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Now I will say that they've been together all winter and done nothing. They're together right now. The male just shed, and I'm starting to see locks. So
when do you put them together?
I put them together in October.
Oh, you just put them together and leave them.
One less water bowl to clean, dude. Like it's
fair enough.
Yeah, done. Like so, they've been together since then, but I don't get any locks. Like I'll get locks from say like I got locks from my olive pythons back. I think it was like almost a month or two ago. It means nothing. Nothing. There's no chance in hell. Because if you go back on when eggs and stuff show up, we're nowhere near it. Now I'm getting locks from the olive pythons. It's like, here we go.
Gotcha.
Now we're on the right course. If they breed again, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do now. Because it's like 4 years in a row with these fuckers.
Now it's just autopilot.
Now it's just autopilot on olive pythons. God damn.
Yeah. Remember in like 2012, we thought they were impossible to breed. We'll never be able to breed those.
You can't do them consistently. Oh shit. Yeah.
Okay. So this next topic I had on the agenda was I don't know. It could be totally wasted time. I don't know, but it got my brain thinking, right? So Scott Borden had put up this picture of this jungle that he had produced. And immediately I look at the pattern, I look at the head stamp, right? So I don't know. Do you even look at, I mean, I know we look at the head stamps or whatever, but do you really look at them when you
Am I one of those people that's like, oh my god, it's got a turtle on its head or a heart?
Well,
I think we're beyond that point. I've seen so many, but
if something that pops out that's unique, do you?
What is unique? What's unique in a head stamp?
So let's think of like a jungle, right? It's typical crossbones, skull and crossbones type of pattern. Coastal is probably the same.
Yeah.
A Darwin is kind of like very little pattern.
Very little head. Yeah.
Inland seems to have like what I call barbells on their head, like
So like, are you saying that I should get excited if I hatch a Darwin that's got a busy head pattern, but nothing else about it is different?
Well, no. This is what
that's ball python dinker territory, and I refuse to go.
Well, no. What I'm getting at, right, is like that is part of the pattern. No.
Yeah, yeah.
So again, I'm saying that
it's on the animal.
Listen, this could be totally pointless. I'm just thinking outside the box, and I was curious to where you went with this, and I was kind of afraid of the feedback.
Yes, I would. Yeah, you were right to be afraid.
Yeah. So you think that they're obviously they must be genetic to some point, but my question is as if you have a specific head pattern, does it equate to, for instance, if you know how with the tiger, right?
Yeah.
The back of the pattern into the head is not attached on the neck.
Right.
And that's sort of a telltale sign for a tiger.
Right.
So I think back in the day, we focused more on head stamps than we do today. Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, and of course it's genetic. Don't you remember Bullwinkle and Bullwinkle Jr. because he just had the same stupid head stamp?
Yes. Yes, I get it. But do you think that they could, like, for instance, if you look at a tiger, right, you know how, like, when you're breeding a banded animal, there's certain things in the pattern that equate to that this animal could possibly throw stripes more so than another one.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's like if they have the zipper back or they have like spots going down the back.
Yes.
If you look down by the tail, you start to see certain things. At least for me, I don't know. I learned this from Roger Lester.
Yeah.
He had on his website things to look for, and like more or less saying that like you could look at these little patterns, right? And I think to your point, the carpet python world doesn't really do this because it becomes too close to the ball python world.
Well, also it's because
right?
I mean, so there's that. Like, I mean, there's that.
Means nothing. It's
also that these things are so freaking variable that you can sit there all day and say that this clearly means this. It's like, well, but then we could easily get it over here. So I don't know.
The reason that Scott's picture brought up to me, you would say that is a little bit, I mean, I guess it's a busy pattern jungle, no?
I mean, I like that it's got solid freaking black. I mean, that's gorgeous.
Yes, but like more so than like it's starting to have little bits of ocelli and the side pattern. Like,
yeah, all right. So you know what's the background on this critter?
I don't know. It's one of his main breed.
He doesn't do zebra stuff.
No, I know that. But so this started me to think like, okay, is the way that the zebra's pattern, is it relating to what it does to the head stamp?
Maybe. I mean, obviously, when you have a zebra, the head stamp is completely gone.
If those two are interlocked, right?
Well, now let's also say, like, where did Scott get this animal's parents or things like that? Because if they're from Mike Curtin, then we know that there's scattershot stuff in there. There's other things like that. Just because its parents are normal jungles doesn't mean that there's not other things at work here.
Okay. Yes. True. Okay. But he's not breeding morphs.
No, but it's like if this came from Delia Scattershot,
right?
I mean, it could have a bunch of stuff in there, depending on what Mike was crossing at that time.
Like what?
Wasn't Scattershot a jag?
Scattershot? No, I thought
No.
Scattershot was a jungle.
I thought he was a jungle jag. Mike's gonna yell at me if I got that wrong.
How
Shut up!
you?
Shut up! Shut up! No, I guess he wasn't. Scattershot wasn't a jag.
No, Scattershot was a jungle.
Huh. Well, no, we're just.
My point is that I don't think that Scott Borden is getting anything that has
isn't pure jungle.
That's necessarily pure, but that's not some type of morph thing.
Well, yeah, but again, like, what if one of this thing's parents or grandparents was a zebra?
I don't want to speak for Scott, but I would almost promise you that it's two jungles that were bred together.
But again, what if its grandparents, one of its grandparents was a zebra?
Bred together. I don't think there's any zebra in that at all.
All right.
Because didn't Curtin just recently start breeding zebras?
Yeah, I guess that would have been recent.
Yeah. This is an animal that he produced that he got from Mike a long time ago.
Sib.
Yeah.
Sib. How dare you bring that word in here? My God.
You brought such a... Anyway, I don't know.
Dirty word.
My thought was that could you start to see certain things or certain traits as far as like looking at an animal to see if it's going to be striped or would make stripes based off of the head pattern or a specific look on the pattern? Do you think that's...
We already do that.
How? With what?
I mean, you already said it with tigers. You and I both.
Nobody. Do you think that people talk about that today?
Oh, hell no.
As opposed to in the early days of MP when we only had two.
Why would you? It's so much easier to just go get a really good looking tiger from the 20 or so people that produce them every year. Like, why do I need to? Why do I need to go digging? It's right here.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I guess it's
why?
I guess I'm looking too deep into it.
I think you are, because I think the head stamp is something that can be different, but only in extremes. Like, that's a jungle head stamp through and through. Could you see that on the same kind of head stamp? Talking like a little bit of the of whatever the skull and crossbones and then the stripe down the middle of the face. You could probably find that on a bunch of different other jungles or jungle types.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I looked at a lot of like wild ones. I've had patched ones that have like looks like a magnifying glass on their head and stuff like that. I don't know.
But then you could also get the weird jungle things. Like some people put a lot of stock into the head stamps just because. Well, I'm sorry. They used to put a lot of stock into the head stamps because they just liked what they saw. They're like, this one's a turtle. It's like, of course, that's what they wanted. So,
I do get that.
Yeah.
I do understand that, but I just think that I don't know. I just think that there's something there that we might not be.
It's a high contrast, really good looking jungle. Let's just call it a high contrast, really good looking jungle.
No. Hold on. Let me make sure. I'm not saying
that Scott stuff's got diamond in it.
No. I'm not saying that this is a morph. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm not saying that it's some kind of crazy thing that hatched out. I'm just saying that this animal stood out to me because the pattern looks busier than typically than what I see. And Scott's comment back to me was that's why he held it back because the pattern was unique, right? So if the pattern is unique, does that equate to the head stamp being unique? Right.
No,
and if no, you don't think so?
I don't think so. I think the head stamp can be unique, but I don't think it's going to be something that, because we've all seen weird carpet pythons. But
of course.
But
all crazy ones hatch out all the time.
Right. But sometimes the head stamp is just the head stamp. It's not what makes the whole carpet look weird. The rest of it is weird.
No. I'm probably doing a terrible job at explaining what I'm trying to say, but okay.
I think we've said Scott Borden's name 3 times and he hasn't come. He's probably busy. But I would say that a unique head stamp does make an animal with a unique pattern just that more unique. But I mean, we've seen. I don't know about you, dude, but I've seen so many of the same head stamp on so many of the different animals. Now, is it because they're all getting bred at my place and they're all related to shit I've seen before? Probably. So
yeah, I think just looking at wild a lot of like wild carpet pythons. I notice like a lot of like even
Yeah.
so if you look at Brisbane's, right? Some of them
Yeah.
don't have like a head pattern,
No, they don't.
you know.
I would say that when
And
I'm
usually the ones that don't have a head pattern typically are like hypo-ish.
right. When
So
I'm
again, does
looking
that
at
equate? Does that head stamp, the lack of head stamp, just sort of is that in that group of snakes?
maybe.
You know what I mean? So like if
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
in, I don't know, some part of Brisbane where there's a you know a group of wild carpets running around,
Mhm.
and you see like sort of this phenotype that sort of keeps popping up. It I
Mhm.
don't know. Travis Wyman is going to listen to this and message us and tell us what's up.
He'll do what he normally does. Is he'll give us chapter and verse the next day of why we're stupid. But I would say that when I'm looking at a holdback, I'm not looking at head stamps. I'm looking at
No, neither am I.
it's just
I'm
like
not.
when they're
I'm
all
just
together,
saying-
it's like which one looks weird.
Okay.
Like,
So that's my question.
Yeah.
Should we pay more attention to things like that other than, like, because if you look at what I was saying about Roger Lester and his approach to striped jungles, which you see what's happened in Australia with striped jungles, he's tiger jungles, what they call it, right?
Yeah.
You've seen what he's done. So I have to see if I can find it and I'll post it up in the Patreon.
Do
But
they all have the same head stamp or?
no, it has nothing to do with the head stamp.
Well,
It has
now I'm
more to do with
confused
the
of why
tail.
we're talking about this.
I quit. I quit. Thank you, Lisa.
I don't know what the hell we're doing here. It's like...
Fair enough. Say no more, Mr.
This can't
McIntyre.
improve any. This can't improve a morph project. What the fuck do we care? Next.
I don't know. This is sort of my questions, and now the people in the chat are sort of saying it. That like, could you tell a certain line? We've done it with tigers, so I don't know why it's possible that you could do it with other stuff. But
so what we have,
I don't think it's a guarantee, though, right?
What we have to do this year is everybody needs to take pictures of the babies pipping, and we need to call it from the head stamp of whether the kid's going to be good when the rest of it comes out of the egg. Everybody's going to have to call their shots. That one. Yeah.
You jerk.
You asshole.
Let me just say that this conversation went a lot better with Rob than it did with you.
Of course it did.
Oh, they're talking about holy shit. I gotta post this up real quick. Of course it did.
Of course it did. I don't understand. I think this went exactly the way you expected it to go.
It did.
With me.
It did. You and your craziness. What am I listening to you for? Head stamp.
No, it's got a head. It's got markings on it. Let's move on.
Yes. Okay, fair enough. We'll move on. Sean Carroll, Jungles. Here we go. Look at this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Oh, damn. Wow.
Yeah. Holy shit, dude. And look at that head stamp.
Shut up. I wasn't expecting the black to be the stripe.
Right?
Like I was almost like expecting the animal to be reversed, where like it would be a broad yellow stripe.
This is sort of what I was talking about when I was talking about how the pattern, you know how difficult it is to get striping down by the tail.
God, I hate it.
We all know that.
If you want to look, when you're looking for a good tiger, if it's got a striped tail, grab it. Like it.
But see how this head stamp doesn't connect at the neck, on the sides.
Like a tiger, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's doing something to the head stamp with the stripe, no? If the jungles in Australia, I wonder what the Darwin stripes and all the other stripes.
Quick,
like.
Everybody find pictures of stripes. We need to we need to compare head stamps. If Eric's correct, though, I'm going to be really pissed off.
I also, you're like this whole black solid.
Look like somebody just attacked it with freaking ink. Like, oh my god,
it's like almost like three different snakes. Almost, right? The top, the middle, and the bottom are like three different.
Well, I mean,
snakes.
I really like the inside, the black on the side. that like kind of like yellow fishnetting kind of stuff going on there.
Yes,
That's cool. But I mean, I'd be happy with just a complete dorsal stripe.
Yeah, I think he's working towards that, right?
I mean, that's what you should, but yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah,
Riley,
look
get
at
on this. What the hell are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, Riley has a beautiful stripe.
I know he does.
Holy shit.
I know he does.
All right, so give me like 6 to 10 years.
I'll give you 4, and you'll
Riley,
be
I
happy
might
to
be
get
dead.
those 4. 10 years. What the hell?
I might be dead by then. Who knows?
It's like 10 years. I don't have time for that.
Billy Hunt is working on striped jungles, but I think he has I think Riley's are more pure, whereas I think Billy's have some undocumented animals. They're still beautiful. Holy shit, really nice.
And that just, it always goes back to
Does
that.
that even matter anymore?
It doesn't. Who cares? Like, get to that point where it's just like, just make me a really neon yellow and black striped animal. Like, just do it.
What do you think held jungle breeders back from doing that?
They got distracted by pretty colors.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, and also you got to remember, like when we were doing it, everybody had their own line of jungles. Like if you wanted a certain look, you went to that person, you got it. And then those were the animals you were working for. And it was almost like you don't take one animal from this person and one animal from here and just breed them together to make pretty yellow and black jungles. Mm-hmm. You should do it with some sort of purpose of either advancing this camp or this camp. But it eventually just got to the point where so many people were just grabbing a pair of black and yellow jungles and things were moving around and animals were dying and people were getting out of it, that it kind of got all jumbled into just black and yellow jungles. Uh-huh. So nobody was really moving towards it. I know certain people were. What did you had that your boy Skunk, right? Or you had a baby from
Skunk, yeah.
Yeah, who was that from? Was that from
Justin?
Justin, yeah. I know Justin was working on it.
So I think it was when Justin was with Ben. Mm-hmm. And I think for some reason I thought that maybe they originated as Ben's animals. I'm not 100% on that, but I know that he was big time into Skunk and Flower was the name of those snakes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like I said, when projects aren't established and a core animal to the project dies, it's hard to pick it back up.
Right. Yeah, he did. That's what Riley was saying. There's an undocumented animal in the line, but still cool snake for sure.
Yeah.
I thought maybe I had a picture of that snake, but apparently not.
I think after you get to a certain point, it's like it's almost like when you get into like Scream Jag territory, it's like no one cares, just make it pretty. Like it's after you get to that point. So
yeah, I think I would probably say that the jungle group of the Morelia world probably, probably.
I was going to say this earlier, and I was actually questioning it. Like, how many people are working with like white diamonds?
I think Josh Easter is one that I know. I want to say I thought that Kerry and Todd were at some point, but you don't see a lot of black and white jungles floating around in the state. So my girl, the Riverbank Zoo, she's black and white. She don't have yellow.
I feel like there was more black and white diamonds like a bit ago, and now there seems to be just like they're harder to come by.
Right.
Just a straight black and white diamond. So
right. Yeah. Okay. So you would go for black and white over black and yellow?
Yeah. Got to be different, you know.
Yeah. Good luck.
Thank you. Just
black and white. I don't think he has black and white. Nick, I don't think so.
I don't know.
I think he has Cypress Creek San Diego Zoo, I think, which I don't think that they're black and white. I think they're black and yellow. I think you might get some that might have white in them,
Yeah.
but they're more
Like, I mean,
yellow.
we getting to the point
You're
where
talking like black and white.
yes, I'm talking about the black and white ones. So now, I almost feel like we're getting away from are those black and white animals getting towed under by the black and yellow ones because maybe somebody only has one black and white one and they bred it to something else.
I think that most people do the black and yellow because
Yeah.
that's what they can.
And that's what's available, and they are stunning. But
once again,
yeah,
Mr. Sean Carroll with his black and white diamonds.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice clutch, huh?
That's a nice clutch of eggs.
But
yeah, one day.
One day. I don't know. I'm curious to see how the reduced pattern one blends with the Riverbank Zoo one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
have you seen any action from them at all, or just kind of?
Well, I didn't even put them together yet. I just started bringing them up.
Just put them together. Just put them together.
No, because I'm feeding them.
Just put them together.
You got to feed them first.
Put them together. Just give them a rat and put them together. just give them a rat. The next day, put them together.
That's how it works. It's just that simple. Well,
you can't breed them when they're in different cages. I can't believe it's not working. I figured it out.
Why can't I get them to breed?
Put them in the same goddamn box.
Yeah, his river. Yeah, see, he's got. Oh no, I'm wrong. He does. It's not Cypress Creek. He has Riverbank and San Diego Zoo. So, but the one kind of looks black and white, maybe. That's one.
Yeah, because I need to send more money to Nick Mutton. Oh, I haven't.
But this one has yellow. So that's what I was curious about. What happens when you breed the two together? Are you going to get?
I don't know.
Yeah, they're beautiful, man.
I think the yellow would take over. Like you would breed like a white jungle to a yellow jungle, and it would just be yellow babies.
That would be my thought, but
yeah.
Very cool.
Or you could just put your animals in the same box, and I could just get diamonds from you. So
yeah, you could do that as well.
Just do that. That helps.
Man, I keep looking at Sean Carroll's stuff, man, and it is just like, whew.
I want this, and I want this, and I want this. Yep.
God. He has some nice snakes. And it doesn't seem like, I think he's one of those guys where you think he has a super big collection, and it's really like.
What does Rob call those? Deceptively large collections?
Yeah,
or it's
deceptively large.
You don't, I have like 10 animals. What? Yeah.
Did you? Oh, there was this diamond too. I put this in the locality of the week on the Carpet Python Diaries on the Patreon. That's a nice diamond.
That is so cool.
Head, you know,
that is so cool.
Yeah. Just sitting on your fence, chilling. It almost looks like, it reminds me of like a breadlie head. No, right? Don't
I mean, I kind of, but like that is like so few yellow. That is awesome. No rosettes.
And then
gorgeous.
The iridescence on the actual snake itself in the sun was pretty cool.
Insane.
The shot he had. It's almost like
it's white lip quality kind of. Yeah,
exactly.
I'll take it. Souls,
which just makes me wonder how important they are. Has that guy been on the podcast? No, I've asked Sean Carroll to come on a few times, but he's not really. So usually if there's a carpet python person that like you think like, why haven't we had them on?
It's because
I've tried to ask them and they didn't want to do it because some people don't like talking in public. They're going to say something stupid, that kind of stuff.
We don't hound people. When they turn us down, we tend to be like, okay. And then
eventually they come around.
Sooner or later, we get them all.
But I would love to talk. Look at this black diamond. I forgot about this baby. but this has a lot of yellow on the bottom.
No, trash. Throw it away. What? Yeah, I like that. I really do.
Yeah. Who needs Bolin's pythons? Although
no one needs freaking Bolins. No one.
Oh, yeah. That's Bolin, see?
Yeah. Diamond python. What did they used to call? They called one king snake like the poor man's diamond or something like that. And now it's like, God, diamond pythons, the poor man's Bolins. Like it's
the speckled
the speckled king. Yeah.
snake.
So it's like, the poor man's diamond. Now these are like the poor man's Bolins. Yeah.
That's like the Sean Bradley speech he gives every time that he talks about diamond pythons. How he walked around the show, and you know how we all have those things that we always talk about on.
I mean, if you've listened to this show long enough, you know all ours. But yeah.
So, all right, let's talk about your talk. How was that?
Let's do that.
I know why you wanted to poo-poo my head stamp stuff.
Listen.
Fair enough.
Listen. If it was a good idea, I'd give it to you. But
fair enough.
So I was approached by the Lancaster Herpetological Society to come out and do a talk, into which I felt like we must feel for guests and stuff like that. I'm like, what the hell would I talk about? It's like, well, snakes, obviously. No shit. Yeah. But so it was cool because I'm like, all right, well, I'll talk about herping and I'll talk about, Australian pythons. I that's what I do.
Right.
So we went there and like they had a couple. First off is I go there. And I was invited by their vice president, who turns out to be a guy I sold a Jag to about like 2 years ago. And he still has the Jag, brought it to the Lancaster Herp Society for me to see it, which was cool.
Mm-hmm.
They had it at this pet store out in Lancaster.
Okay.
That was the size of a goddamn Walmart. Like, it was huge.
Really?
Huge. And Melissa and I are like, oh, we're going to walk around. We want to check this place out. We didn't even get a chance to do that because we did the Herp Society meeting and I ran over with my time of talking and the store was closing and they kicked us out. So, but like, I mean, they had a whole saltwater fish section that you had to go through like different double doors to get to. They had like, it looked like they had a touch tank with like stingrays in it and stuff like that. There was shit everywhere. And I'm like, I'm going to walk around. And then I'm also going to throw some business cards at some people to see if they need to find some stuff to, stock shelves.
Right.
Like, if you need an olive python, I got you. So it's kind of all that stuff. So ignore whatever the hell that was. So it's just going to shut up. God damn it.
Is that Mort yelling at you?
No, it's something.
No, I know. All right. So big store, a lot of fish tanks.
Yeah.
They have reptiles in there?
Yeah, they had a whole reptile section that I really wanted to go over to, but I didn't get a chance. So
okay.
We're going to have to go back. Like, we're going to go back. I thought about bringing my nephew, but he's attempting a hostile takeover of my company. So I have to watch out for him.
Wait, what?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry. I'll beat him.
Move
He's
along.
only 9. He's only 9. He can't possibly do all the things he's saying he's going to do.
I don't know.
He's at one point he was like, so he's like, you should go buy a new king snake. I'm like, okay. He's like, but it'll be mine. I'm like, okay. And then you can breed it. Okay. And then you and I'll split the clutch. I'm like, whoa. I buy the female. I breed the female. You get half the babies. What kind of bullshit is this? Like, yeah. So he's my nephew Hunter is slowly trying to take over my company, and my brother's encouraging it. But anyway, it was really cool because they had this whole upstairs section with like it was like a conference room, and they set it up, and the guy who was the president of the society is a guy named Jesse, and he owns the rescue group out here in PA called Forgotten Friend.
Okay.
So he rescues reptiles. He also does educational programs and things like that. So first thing is they did like the stupid normal club thing. This is what we got going on. We elected a new vice president, and everybody turned in their dues, and we're planning on some stuff. Now it gets a little bit warmer, and then he started talking about herping down in Florida. He showed a really pretty eastern diamondback that he found, a cottonmouth, and then a yellow rat snake. They were talking about how they want to go herping and set up some different trips as it gets warmer to go check out some places.
Okay.
And then they turned it over to me. And immediately I'm like, well, what I should do is I should get up and flex my reptile muscles as much as possible, because I need them to know that, I can hang. Like,
right.
Okay.
Like,
so you start with the collection, and you start with what you got going on in your breeding, and the podcast and all that other stuff. And then you just kind of start about herping. So I started going through all the different places that we've gone herping and what we found. So it was kind of like, they're like, oh yeah, it's cool, that's cool. And then you show them a picture of a clobber eye, and they're like, holy crap, there it is. Like, yes.
right.
And after that is the Willard eye, and it's like, oh my god. And then you start talking about, I started talking about python, like Australian pythons, and I also kind of linked it with what we did in Australia on the Darwin trip. So
Okay.
talked about the care of carpet pythons, and then I talked about us finding the carpet python. I talked about care of blackheads and us finding the blackhead, care and breeding of olive pythons, and how we only found it in echidna. Like, it was. And then I went into like Owen Pelly pythons. I did the whole thing on them and us finding the Owen Pelly python, us talking with Gavin and Matt Somerville and some of the other people now getting like those second generation babies. So it was kind of cool with that. But then I ended with a rough scale, because if we're going to talk Australian pythons, you got to, bust out a rough scale. But they were really cool. What's funny is that I told them about how I went up to Jim Thorpe to find a
Hellbender.
Copperhead last June when it was my birthday, and I'm like, I haven't found a copperhead, so I'm just gonna go. So, and they're like, you went all the way up to Jim Thorpe to find a copperhead? I'm like, yeah. They're like, you live in Birdsboro? I'm like, I do. They're like, there are copperheads in Birdsboro. I'm like, go on. Like, it was just kind of one of those where now they're like, oh, we want to set up trips around Memorial Day to go look for some stuff, and we want to kind of do this. I'm like, okay. And they took me and Melissa out to dinner afterwards, and not a hellbender, but a Brett Bender. I mean, if we get a hellbender, we should just name it Brett Bender. So it's but
Lucas on the quick draw.
Yeah, what the hell, dude? Someone gave him too much caffeine. But it's like they want to set up some herping and stuff like that, and they're like, "Oh, we'll meet up." I'm like, "I got friends," and they're like, "Oh, so long as your friends don't do any collecting." I'm like, "No, they just take pictures." So, but yeah, it was cool. I think you would have enjoyed it because it like these guys and girls, they have like maybe, I don't know, like I want to say not a lot of them were doing much breeding. They had a couple snakes, and that was it. But they're definitely more into the herping and the field and going out there. Like I think one of them was doing field research with prairie dogs in the summer and stuff like that. So
I often wonder, like with herp societies, like how, like, are they in their own bubble? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
is like they're not really following the trends of herpetoculture, or who's the coolest breeder on the block, they seem like they're just like reptile geeks, and that they basically want to learn about the reptile, and they could give two shits.
They give you shits about what's going on. I would say yes. I would say this one leans more towards proper care and like field herping and like rescue.
Okay.
Because like the one girl brought her ball python that she got as a rescue because someone had surrendered it to the pet store that we were in. Right. And it was just a baby leucistic ball python. And she was over the moon about the thing. but this was like her only pet snake. But she was there with her dad because this is her thing and she wanted to learn.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So when you have people with rescue snakes, right? What's like the main species? Is it ball pythons? Nile monitors?
I mean, mainly the one
Bearded dragons?
The one guy from Forgotten Friends said he had a couple boas, corn snakes, a lot
Corn
of
snakes, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of native stuff, king snakes, corn snakes, pine snakes, stuff that you don't necessarily have to go nuts with as far as like a setup. And then obviously your python stuff is, you know, the ball pythons are probably one of the ones that are definitely dropped off, but I wouldn't be surprised if berms and retics. But a lot of the people who were there didn't seem like they had very large constrictors, like very big things. They were
put a pin in the retic thing.
Yeah, I mean, they seemed like they were interested in a lot of the colubrid stuff, and then maybe they had a python or two.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only other person that had carpet pythons was the vice president who'd bought a carpet from me. So,
okay,
I definitely say that a lot of them didn't
even know what carpet pythons were.
They knew because I mean they
like
knew
heard of them, but they don't.
Yeah, I mean they knew every python I was bringing out. They knew olive pythons. They knew the children's python. They knew all that stuff, but it was
he's coming for your job, bro.
I mean, he can try, but if you're going to hit the king, you better kill the king. So, the one guy definitely knew what the children's python was, but when I mentioned that I had Chinese king rats, he's like, "You have stinking goddesses." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, yeah." So they're honest to goodness reptile geeks,
okay,
and they may have one foot in both worlds, where they are field herpers, but they also know about the whole breeding and sale aspect. Maybe not to the point where they themselves are breeders, but they have to get their animals from somewhere.
It's kind of like people that never go on Facebook or something, or never go on social media, and they have no idea. Well, it's kind of like when I came back into the reptile world, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I came back in, I had no idea.
Right.
Like when I left, it was you worked with this species and this species and this species and this species, and there was no morphs and all that shit.
They're more of like it's more of like a birding club half the time, because they want to know who's going out and doing what, and who's going out to find reptiles. What'd you find? Also, what are our reptiles at home doing? Oh, well, I have this animal. I set it up and I brought it to show off. It's cool. It's a this animal. And then they eventually bring people in like us. I told them straight up, I'm like, I can do a presentation on every single herp trip that I'm going to quick go over with pictures here. I could do a full presentation on every single animal I'm going to bring up here that I'm going to quick overview. And then I could probably do a presentation on just me and what the hell's going on. So like, we're going to jam like 5 or 6 presentations into one is what we did. So,
gotcha.
But that's the thing is like, I know Lisa said that she's done presentations at her Herpetological Society just on white lips.
Right.
So it's a way to kind of bring people. It's like bringing people in a little bit closer to snakes that maybe they've only ever seen on a display at Hamburg or on the internet or something like that. And I said it's very important to go out herping because you need to experience where you're from, like what animal you're looking at. You go to Australia because those are the animals you work with.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of them were U.S. colubrids, to be honest with you, because a lot of them, none of them were venomous keepers from what I gathered.
I think I get the feeling that a lot of like herpers in our area are not really into anything other than North American snakes.
I can put Lucas in timeout if I click here. It's I would agree.
Okay.
I don't know. I would put him in timeout, but I don't think I know how to get him out of it. So I'm afraid. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool. That's cool.
Well,
So
it's
you won some friends, is what you're saying?
I won some friends. I'm trying to. The funny thing is that I'm like, well, yeah, we're gonna have Carpet Fest this year, and they're like, what the hell is Carpet Fest? I'm like, where the hell have you people been? So,
That's what I mean. They have no idea about
they
any
have
of
no
these
clue,
things.
no
Yeah.
freaking clue. The one dude was the one guy asked me straight up. He's like, well, how long have you been in this? I'm like, 2005. Probably. He's like, that's when we started. Where have you been? I'm like, over there. Like,
I wonder too, like, just like how often we miss, just local people that.
yeah. Oh, it would be. I think if you have a herpetological society nearby, go to a meeting. Like they apparently the next one they have isn't until like I think they maybe only meet once a month.
Mhm.
The thing for me is like it's an hour away from my house. So for guys like you and everybody down by Philly,
Mhm.
it's
It's
like
2 hours,
2
2,
hours,
3 hours. Yeah.
3 hours to do that.
Yeah.
Would it be cool? Yeah. Are you gonna do it? Hell no. But that's the closest herpetological study because I remember us talking about it in college. Because every once in a while you'd be at Hamburg and you'd see somebody walking around in a Lancaster Herpetological Society shirt, and you're like, oh shit. And then, but there's no Burks, there's no Bucks, there's no,
Right.
Montgomery, just Lancaster.
Yeah, I was talking to so that local shop to me.
Mhm.
It was sort of something that I was like talking to them about, just like having like a local group of people.
Yeah.
Like I need another thing to do, but
I don't know why. Yeah, like you're like start a club. It's like Jesus Christ, dude. Like,
but I don't know. I think it's kind of important to sort of hang out with the people. I mean, that's kind of
yeah.
like what Carpet Fest is, but
Well, I think it is important. Also, I think it's cool. Like if these guys, if the Lancaster Herpetological Society wants to invite me herping with them, I'm gonna go. Like, why not?
Yeah.
And if that's something that like I know 2 hours for a herp society meeting every month kind of sounds shitty, but coming up for a herp trip for a day or two up near me, that
Right.
might be something that you, Matt, some of the other people down by Philly might be interested in.
Yeah, I just think of like, meeting Robert and
Yeah.
going up and meeting his
There's I think there would be a definite way to connect these kinds of things. And if getting the herps is kind of making friends with the herp society extends our network of reptile people that we have nearby, it's never going to be a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, Robert and Jason that they live it's probably about an hour and a half away, but
Well,
still.
Jason came all the way down to Jersey to go herping with us. So,
Sure. I think that's
and
his neck of the woods, right?
and hey, if I find some spots near like they're talking about a spot that's 2 blocks that way down my house.
What a bad
For
herper you
Copperhead,
are.
right over there. Apparently, I suck that
Don't you ever
badly.
go for a walk or something? Jeez, take your
I never
wife
go
for
with
a
that
walk.
dog. Like I usually am walking around with that dog, and the last thing I want is to put Zero and a venomous snake near each other.
Good point.
Thank you.
Good point. Okay.
Explain to the Fish and Wildlife why that Copperhead got killed.
Yeah.
Why my dog's still alive.
So I said to put a pin in the retic thing.
Don't ever put a pin in the retic.
What's your thoughts on the whole Brewer getting a TV show thing?
I mean, we've talked about it before, like back when, what was it? Brian got his show for that whole venomous thing. What was he was,
I can't remember.
I don't remember the whole thing, but they were like, they were
that.
like milking venom for some stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I think it's bad, man. I
mean, let's all talk about that. We can sit there and say that we would never do this, we would never do that, we never sell ourselves short. Somebody backs a dump truck full of money up to my house, I will use a carpet python like a lasso. Like it is there's so many things we can do that, but I would say that a reality TV show about any large scale reptile breeder is not going to show us in the best of lights. I would say that there are very few reptile.
Oh, it's on Roku. Yeah.
Okay, but even then, like I would say there are very few 100% reptile facilities that would paint us in a good light. Like you don't see them pulling up a film crew to Ari's place. Like that would be awesome. But they're not going to do that because they don't there's no sense of drama. There's not celebrities stopping by to buy a new retic. Like there's none of that kind of crap. So the idea is that they want to have that drama. They want to have the interaction. They want to have such and such person who's got so much freaking money on their hands that they need to have like these rattlesnakes and stuff. They want to have that kind of stuff. So it was always probably going to be Jay Brewer's stuff. He's got a very big following on social media. He's got a lot of celebrities, TikTok and various other things coming through his facility. So it was probably always going to be Jay Brewer's stuff that was going to get a reality TV show. Is it going to be good for the community as a whole? Hell no. I think any prolonged exposure to anything animal related is going to come back to bite somebody in the end. Like if you were, I mean, any animal personality that has a show on Animal Planet has got people wanting to take them down. This, all this other stuff. Is it the dog training dude has got a bunch of people that want him gone.
Really?
All the various pet.
Cesar Milan?
Oh yeah.
Why?
Google it, you'll find it.
Oh wow.
People will claim abuse of the animals. They'll say he wasn't doing this, he wasn't doing that. So obviously, when you do things like pet breeding or animal breeding on a scale, that's going to backfire on you. And also, just going to be people that are going to come for it. I just don't know why you haven't shined a spotlight on it.
Well, it's money, no?
Of course, that's what it is. So,
money,
is it going to
ego.
Is it going to be good for us? There's no chance in hell. There's no way it would be good for us. None. But
yeah.
Dude, that place
I don't think he's just not.
Dude, that place could be immaculate and everything could be done drama free, and it would still be bad for us because people are gonna find a way to be upset about it, and people are gonna find a way to take things out of context. People are gonna find ways to be upset about something. So anybody, like they could have done a show at Barczyk's place, and it would have been bad for us.
Yeah, see, I think Barczyk is different than Brewer, right? Like
I think Barczyk is different than Brewer.
Is.
I agree.
I don't think get the vibe from Barczyk that he's really into reptiles.
He is.
I don't get that vibe from Brewer. I could be wrong.
I think
I don't really know the guy.
I don't either way.
I just think he's just not the same as what we are, I guess.
I think it would be trouble either way. Do I think it's a little bit worse that it's Jay Brewer? Probably. Like, I mean, I what is it? There was that one video of him sitting in the Cages by Design cage getting lit up by retics.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you sitting there just letting them bite the hell out of you?
I've been, I've been watching videos about the whole. Apparently, it's a lot of drama in the super dwarf. I've been listening to this podcast called the Retic Lounge, and it's actually a pretty good podcast.
Okay.
I quite enjoy.
I love how you just expanded over into the Retic thing, which is like I've been listening to the Retic Lounge. Why?
Well,
wait, do you still have retics?
Here's the thing: it's similar to like we used to hear this back in the day, where people would listen to us that didn't have carpet pythons, right?
True.
It's just that like you listen to a show and you either like the host or you don't, and if you do, you kind of get into it. And what's the guy's name? He does Hamburg all the time. Oh my God, he bred white lips. Who's the retic? Who?
Rick Crumine?
No.
He's
the one that Matt got his. Yes, that's him. Yeah, so I've been watching some of his videos, and because he was on there, and this was a year ago, so I don't know, but he's talking about how like everything became a dwarf and a super dwarf.
Of course,
and, it did. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's like it's the sky. Oh wow.
Mm, mm,
Yeah,
gee.
I don't I tend to be more in the camp of Rodney, I think, because it just seems like he has the knowledge of like retics like I hope to have for carpets, you know?
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
very
and
much into the locality. He seems like he can be a little uh what's the word?
abrasive,
Abrasive only because I think he's like trying to drive a point home, which
and it's a
I
good way
totally
to drive a
understand.
point
Yeah,
home. Yeah.
you know, but I don't know. I remember when we had Garrett on, he was sort of on the show
Hmm.
and he was listening in and sort of commenting that some of Garrett's info wasn't correct. But just the level of this guy's knowledge of locality retics is crazy.
Yeah, but I would say that obviously when you have somebody like Garrett who has popularity and success with something like super dwarf and dwarf retics, you're going to have people that try to cling on to those coattails and say that they're, because I mean, dwarf retics were something that were kicking around when I was getting into it. I mean, it was never they were not as small as Garrett's and everything like that are run around nowadays. They were definitely,
I
you
think
know, 11 foot instead of the 20 or like 16. So
I wonder how accurate that size is for those animals.
I don't know. I
I
mean,
wonder if it's a feeding thing. Is it,
I
you
would
know,
say it's part of it. I mean, also just because the animal is 11 foot or something like that and is a dwarf retic, it could still weigh, like, it could still be fat and huge. I
I'm
mean,
s- I, I'm surprised they haven't been studied as much as like say the anaconda, right? You would think
yeah,
that the retic is sort of the similar, you know, it's the python version of the anaconda, right? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
in a way,
in a way, just size wise
just
and stuff
size
like that.
wise,
Yeah.
you know, and just the whole lure of
Mm.
like, you know, eating people and all that kind of stuff. But
Well, yeah, that, and you have to, like, I mean, how
twice a year
many
does the trick. Feed them twice a
twice a
year. Is
year?
that what he's saying? Oh shit.
I I have slowed down feeding my retic because if she gets any bigger, we're gonna have to come to the realization that she cannot stay here. So
So again, not really knowing a whole lot about retics. I wonder how much of that is that and how much of it is like, you know, I think like, do you think that sometimes like, I mean, a small retic is still 12 to 15 feet, no?
I mean,
That's a big snake.
I've seen 16. I've worked with the 16-footer. That's a huge snake.
How big is yours?
I'd say she's probably closer to 10, maybe 11. Not even, I don't think. She's pretty big.
Right.
She's about maybe that thick around at her thickest point.
Yeah, I did see
I mean,
Roberts.
she's eating rabbits. She's eating rabbits and she's eating chicken, like whole hens.
Gotcha.
Um, but like we're not tipping over, like we're still on bunnies. We're not tipping into like 10-pound rabbits or 5-pound rabbits or things like that. And usually when she eats a rabbit, she's good for a couple months. Um, but yeah, dude, they grow quick.
I don't know. At my outside perception, I will say I did see Roberts. He had a lot of like dwarf stuff,
Mm.
and they were smaller. And he does
Hmm.
feed them the same as with the normal stuff. They're carpet python size, I suppose. You know,
Okay.
like that kind of, probably a little bit bigger, maybe.
Well, who's carpet pythons?
Yeah, your
Mine or
carpet
yours?
pythons,
Okay.
yours. Yeah.
Yeah.
But oh, and then Richard says he has a 3-year-old that's about the average size of a GTP. How about that?
Some people can get that kind of stuff. Like can.
I think if you're working with the pure localities, you
Mhm.
probably can. But I again, I don't know. My what's the impression I get from the retic world is just gene stacking.
I mean, eventually, yeah, that's what they have to.
You know, it's sort of like the big snake, the ball python, big snake type of deal.
The weird thing is that they seem to be gene stacking to get colors and morphs, but they keep trying to shove them all into the dwarf and super dwarfs. Like they want all these really cool,
Well,
impressive morphs, but they want them on the small guys.
Didn't Garrett sort of say that they've kind of figured out I think it's like if you breed the female, supposedly you can breed, if the female is dwarf, it kind of keeps the animals small, which I don't know how. I mean,
I don't know how that would pass genetically.
I can say that too, but if I haven't, like, I don't know. I think here's a question. Do you think sometimes like we just sort of like take these little anecdotes that are in our collection, just sort of say, well, this is how it is, when in reality it's probably really not the case. I think that happens probably more often than not. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, well, these animals, say you have 10 animals and you're breeding these 10 animals, that somehow these 10 animals fall into this thing that you're sort of wanting it wouldn't
even take all 10. Like, say you had 10 animals and 4 of them acted this way, you would just be like, clearly this is what this means. It's like, but you have such a small sampling size.
Yes.
And it's all your animals from your room. Like, that doesn't mean shit.
Right. I mean, I guess if you can track the bloodlines and stuff like that, and now that whole thing's a mess for them too, because they're sort of in the same boat as us with Australian stuff.
Right. But it's like, I don't
get it in the board.
Everybody was jumping all over the dwarf and super dwarf retics because retics are absolutely gorgeous animals. They really are. And who wouldn't want that in the same kind of cage setup and requirements as a large boa or carpet species or something like that? Like, it makes it so much easier when you don't have to have like 10-foot cages, or that one guy who's got that one setup with his Burmese python that I absolutely love.
There's a guy that has one for a retic too. He like build an extension onto his house, and it's just like this big room. That's
it's inside, and it's this giant room that he has to walk. He has to step into, and there's like 2 berms in it. But like, he can get in there and be not near either one of these 2 giant berms. That's just how big this setup thing is. So it is a selling point. It is something that helps bring a little bit more. I would love this animal, but it gets too big. I can't afford that. All the problems that you have with a retic are almost like, well, now it doesn't. And like we used to say dwarfs. And I know Chris and I used to say like, yeah, it's a dwarf, but if you don't feed it right. Like, it doesn't get that big. You just have to starve it. It's like, we used to say that all the time. So I feel like some animals, or a lot more people, I think, are going to get into it thinking that their animal is a dwarf. It's the whole teacup pig scenario. There's no such thing as a teacup pig. There's such a thing as a baby pig, and that pig that you got is going to be a 300-pound animal if you're not like, in a couple of years. So yeah,
I think Luke has sort of hit the nail on the head for me. It's sort of like, if you're going to get a horse, they plan on having a stable and a corral. If you're going to get a 25-foot snake, 15 to 20-foot snake,
and how long can it live in a Christmas tree bin is what I'm asking.
I don't know, man. Who am I? I'm a nobody, so it doesn't really matter like what my thought on it is.
I have one
no skin in the game. I just wonder if like long term, if that's a good thing or a bad thing, like people getting into snakes like that. I know you don't want to tell people what they should have and shouldn't have, but like,
I think you need to know what you're getting into, and you need to be prepared for it. Because I would say that most animals that are surrendered or abandoned or whatever are going to be your large constrictors, and large lizards and things like that. Like, people don't realize what it entails to keep a retic, berm, afrock, anaconda, water monitor, like all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just I wonder. It's, I don't know. It's a tough thing, right? Because I think that retics are one of those snakes that, like, people, to your point, people should sort of know.
Could you imagine same thing with sulcata tortoises? Could you imagine? Could you imagine if you? Because I know when you originally were getting back into it, that you had large snakes, and
I wouldn't work with large.
Could you imagine if you had gotten back into the large snakes? How many would you have? 2, like in the setup that you have?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I did when I was younger, man. I had a thing for berms. You know,
Yeah.
berms were sort of my snakes. I just liked them. I think it's
I
probably
had
a bit nostalgic on my part because that's like one of the first. That was the first python that I got.
I had a huge albino berm,
Mm-hmm.
huge, and she was awesome. And she was always fun to like do the whole, this is a very large snake kind of a deal. But after a certain point, I'm like, I can't house her, so I ended up having to give her away.
Right.
So, I got the retic from Matt, and right now we haven't reached a point where she cannot stay here. Like she's still comfortable in the cages that I have for her, but
Is yours part super dwarf of any
I
or
think
dwarf?
so. I think
Yeah.
she's a dwarf. I think that's what Matt told me. But again, a dwarf, so she's going to be 11 feet,
Yeah,
12
right.
feet. Like if I'm not careful, 13 feet. Well, she's still technically a dwarf. Right.
I guess that's kind of like my thought. Sometimes I hear the comparison of like, I think this is a good point that Rodney brought up in one of his videos that I was watching, is you saying like, if you expect the snake to be smaller than 12 feet, get a carpet python or get a white lip
There's so
python or
many
get
different
a, you know
species
what I
that'll
mean?
fit in
Like
there.
get a
Yeah.
Macklot's python, because it's, even if we try to get our snakes to the size that they say that they're going to be, like, we can't. Think about it. Like, how many coastals do you know in the States that are 12 plus feet?
I had one.
I know you had one.
That was it.
Since you, I have never seen another one.
I have people that were like, it's 12 feet. And then like you get it and you're like,
I mean, you're like
6
this,
foot.
holding it like that,
Yeah, I would hold her across my whole wingspan and she'd still have room. Yeah.
Right. So, I think it's a little misleading to say like, if you like carpet pythons, you can sort of get.
Well, no, and
maybe I'm biased or whatever, but
I mean, I totally am. But we were talking about this at the Herp Society because I brought up the water pythons that we found in Australia.
Yes.
And I'm like, according to the internet and everything I've read, which this is true,
right?
Water pythons can be between 4 foot and 10 foot. And technically, they are correct because I'm pretty sure that water python we found was close to 10 feet. But is this a healthy breeding animal? Hell no.
No. And so to me, that animal was
it picked a really great spot
yes.
where it could live, where there were no predators.
Yes.
And all it had to do was eat possum and bat all day, every day.
Correct.
So that's how that thing got 10 foot, but that is not a healthy breedable animal. So, we could say that we could push a carpet python to be 10 foot, 12 foot. Is it a healthy breedable animal? Hell no.
No.
So,
I mean, possibly if all of a sudden,
insane
the US opened up,
but
stuff, you could get like
insane Brisbane blood in there, but it's like
might get a big one.
But the majority of it are not going to be there. You're going to hit maybe 7 foot and call it a day.
Right. I would agree with that.
I keep finding that my carpets keep getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
I'm like some of the females the 2 females I'm breeding this year are just shy of maybe 6 foot total length.
Right.
And it's just like, damn, that's kind of small. But then they lay like 15 eggs. I'm like, that's a good clutch. Stamp it, done. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I had a picture of you with that snake, but I guess not.
I hide all the pictures of me. It was back when I only had that stupid little shit on my chin. We don't need to see that. No.
Oh, yeah, the early days.
The early days.
Yeah,
young fool. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was doing the Citrus Tiger thing, I stumbled upon a picture of Van Inventor Jungles, and I think the only person that I know that works with Van Inventor Jungles anymore is Eric Kohler.
Yep.
But what a cool line!
I do.
They kind of disappeared. They were sort of what you call pure. But here's the funny thing: that lady that was breeding them, Jane McPherson, she was breeding that line. I know that she's not the originator of that line, but she she was breeding them, and she produced what would be the dam to the citrus tigers, and yeah.
Oh no!
What?
So the citrus tigers have venator jungles, or
No,
okay,
no,
all
no,
right,
no, no,
I was
no,
like, oh god, you finally figured it out.
no, no. What I'm saying is that the Vetter, she was breeding Vetter jungles, but she was also breeding what she called reduced pattern jungles.
Okay,
And
yeah,
she, again, she was saying that what she was producing was pure, but then, obviously the MP crowd came along and said, no,
hell
that's
no,
not pure.
yeah.
There's the picture of the jungle, by the way.
Oh shit, I like that.
That was from Skunk.
Oh
Flower.
yeah,
Yep. And
that was
then
nice.
the one that everybody keeps hounding me about, that, one of these days I'll let some go.
No, he won't. No, he won't. Don't lie to the people.
The lightning line jungles.
There it is. Yeah.
So that's a pretty one.
Wow.
That's the male. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Hmm.
What else you got? Anything else?
I got nothing. I got nothing. I'm toast. I'm just gonna. There is the Oaks Reptile Show this weekend. I won't be vending, but I will be there. But I hear Mike Curtin is vending, so I might just go and, annoy him for a couple hours.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, he's starting to do some more local shows and stuff like that. So,
did I miss Brett saying he has a super spider? I just see it in the chat now. I was looking at something else.
It's a super spider, so don't get it stressed. Yeah,
oh god,
if you stress out a super spider, they just explode. It's weird. Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what do we have?
Nothing.
So in our next episode,
okay,
we are going to be talking with Chris Salemi, Ryan Young, and Nick Mutton about their trip to Thailand.
Oh, cool. All right.
So that should be cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some crazy stories from that trip.
I demand to hear all of them. Not just, what great food Nick was able to buy with a nickel. Like, I want to kind of get into more of the, animal part of it.
Yeah. So that should be a cool show. Just the flights alone that Chris was telling me about was like, oh my god, it was crazy. I thought the flight to Australia was bad. Holy shit.
Yeah, dude. Like, that's the one part about Australia that I'm like, you know what, I didn't enjoy the plane rides, because like you're in Brisbane and I'm like, cool, we're done, and then Rob's like, well, yeah, until we get on the other plane to Darwin. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
God damn it, this is the third goddamn plane.
Right.
Like, yeah.
So that should be cool. Chris is gonna send me some pics and stuff and whatnot, and I forget what they found, but I know he told me they got charged by wild elephants. so there's that.
Yeah, that'll take years off your life.
I think where they were was like water monitors were the same as what we saw with Merton's monitors in
cool.
The park. But yeah, so that's next episode. Yeah, and then if you want to learn more about carpet pythons, Carpets and Coffee, Carpet Cliff Notes we have, and now we have the Understanding Carpet Pythons on the YouTube channel. Hopefully I'll get more into put more stuff out. Obviously it's, by the way, those caramels I got from you are sweet.
I told you. Don't ever doubt me. Yeah. It's like, I'm like, you're gonna want this one, and then when that girl sheds, you're gonna be like, holy shit.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay, good.
Yeah. Oh shit. Wow.
I was going through with Melissa. I'm like, I want to send him this one, but it's in shed. She goes, he understands that. Like, will you just give it to him? I'm like, okay, yeah, all right. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna be like, what is this garbage?
Wait, it's blue. Like Carpet Fest is August 12th out here in the Northeast. Prepare accordingly. The rules are posted in many places. If you violate them, there will be no forgiveness.
Yes, you will be ejected from the Carpet
Ejected.
Fest. I'm looking forward to that. Man, I have a lot of shit to do before that happens.
Make up a list, and if you need me to come down a couple weekends, I will come down, and I will also guilt trip everybody else who's in the greater Pennsylvania area. So,
a lot of like work around the house, like I don't know. I need to put the floor in the basement. I just got a ton.
I got to meet your puppies last time I was there.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Good Lord. You see why my hair is grayer and grayer.
Pandemonium. They were just everywhere.
Just running like chaos.
God, it was great.
It reminded me of the little dinosaurs in the Jurassic Park when they went to the island. You know, like the rich family gets off the yacht and they go to the island, and it's like they're like little like running on the beach, and then they just engulf the girl.
Well, Dory's like, you have to shuffle your feet, otherwise you could kill one of them. It's
yeah,
like, okay.
Yeah.
You're always
oh my
right
God.
on your feet. That was great.
It's just craziness. Yeah. So they've taken up a huge amount of time. I realized like when I had Carpet Fest every year, I would be like, so our house was sort of like a fixer upper, and
you're always trying to fix something.
So it's like everything's sort of getting fixed slowly but surely. But like then when we went into the COVID lockdowns and stuff, you know, it's just like, we can hold off on that or hold off on that, you know. I mean, and then we had to redo the pool, which was like, oh my God, that was like 10 grand to do. And, you know, it's just craziness. And then, so now I'm like, well, we're going to have Carpet Fest. We got to get this ball rolling because we got a lot of shit that's got to happen.
If you got to put a floor down, I'm pretty sure we can get like 4 guys and we can bust this thing out in an afternoon.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm kind of glad that I'll
bring Jim. He can stand in the corner and supervise and just say things.
Who wants a rolling rock?
Yeah. You guys, your son, you guys all look very tired. Thank you, Dad. I'm hoping. Yeah.
So check out the other podcasts on the network. Apparently, Apple is going to be introducing, I just got an email today that like people that have networks, like you can subscribe to channels, but then you can actually, you know how like you can sort of set up your like your feed if you want downloaded or latest or, you know, shows or whatever. They're going to have it to where you could have the network. And I kind of like the way I would assume that Spotify is going to probably follow suit, but like you could get you can just put it on there. That's like NPR network channel. Yeah. And then all the podcasts would show up on there. So
do it. So even if you don't like us, even if you don't like listening to half of us and you're really only here for Justin, just click the button, you know.
Justin, he's in France, man.
Yeah.
So, if you want to get in touch with us, email info@moreliapythonradio.com. Check out our website, moreliapythonradio.com. Subscribe, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And then Teespring store. I've been working on. I'm gonna share it with everybody real quick.
Yes.
Just to show you something. I thought this was cool and worth, because I started to work on like a Carpet Fest
style shirt,
but then I got down a rabbit hole and I was like, that's distracted. Pretty cool. So
yeah,
that's gonna go onto a shirt.
I like it.
I think that was pretty cool. Man, doing this podcast stuff, you got to be a designer, an editor, a producer, a video engineer.
If only we had some person, I don't know, let's call it maybe like an intern.
Yeah, but part of that is for me.
You suck at delegating?
I am terrible at delegating. Even at work, I'm terrible at it.
Yeah.
I just feel like, well, if I want to do this,
there's Eric repacking the trout. Like, I don't know why he's doing that. He's the manager. Your tie flipped up over your shoulder. Yeah.
I did that the other day.
Jesus Christ.
They didn't know how to cut the fish. I'm like, get out of the way. Shoot. I can't take the skin off the salmon. I don't know how to do it. Like,
I got this.
Like, you don't even know what a broom is. How are you going to know?
How are you going to know how to fillet?
I stood up for you, for Lucas. I stood up for you, but there's a lot of hostility tonight between.
Name one thing I didn't do that I requested. I don't know. What have you requested? Now I'm confused.
And what are the other things? And then we have our Patreon. So
yes,
trying to make that.
Also, go get coffee. Like this is my tumbler that I drink from every day. That is usually filled every morning with NPR blend coffee. So
I've started to taste the other ones, and the Nicaraguan one was, oh man, it was delicious. Yeah, it was really good. He was going to send them to me. I was like, nah, I like to support people that
we like. Yeah.
I just used our link, so it kind of it took a little bit off.
That's why I need to buy another Rogue shirt, and I go on our store and I just buy it for myself, and I'm like, man, the circle of life continues. Like, I
have to tell you a little secret about that before you go and do that again.
It's something I was looking at it where it's like, get a
sample.
Yeah. I think we're gonna need to. I need you to get me a sample of my own shirts, please.
Yeah. So that's all we got. I can't think of anything else. You can finish it up, Owen, and we'll get the heck out of here.
I think that's all we got. So we'll say thanks everybody for listening, and we're gonna catch everybody back here next week for some more Morelia Python Radio. Good night.